one, we're going to tell you what's going to probably happen in the next 4 years and why being far left is not ideal for Democrats. Number two, we tell you that why being so far left is against the fundamental foundation of US citizens' ideas, which is American dream, and why that's going to be counterproductive to the electability of the Democratic Party, as well as number three about political infrastructure, both on the persona that doesn't exist for a far left candidate. There is no viable far left candidates right now, and number two is on financing and donors of super PACs. So the first thing, what we have seen from opening debate is an observation of why Kamala lost in 2024, and then apply it for election in 2028. I think a lot could change as already start to change in the next 4 years, because the other three batches only explain based on political analysis that already happened now, and in 2020, I don't think it can be suddenly applied in 2028, right? Because I could also tell opposition that Bernie lost to Biden. Bernie is a far left, lost to Biden, which is a centrist, in primary of 2020. I could also say that Kamala Harris doesn't lose because of her centrism, but rather because she's only given 100 days or less to prepare for election after replacing Biden, right? So all of this analysis based on Kamala, on what Trump has done and what Trump has not done, is not the analysis of this debate that it should use. I think the most important thing is what will happen in the next 4 years. So three things will happen. Number one, I think there will be a shift of overton window because of Project 2025, which necessitates people on the right-wing politics of the far right to become much more normalized in our society. This is why Dan Shapiro, Charlie Kirkland, and Vivek already engaged in a lot of podcasts with Joe Rogan, with Adin Ross, and already appeared in a lot of entertaining YouTube videos. They start to normalize these ideas to make people shift more into right, which means the far left will be considered very extreme, but the centrism is going to be seen as the normal leftism. Number two, there will be a continuation of Trump's predecessor. Probably it's going to be far-right J.D. Vance or Ron DeSantis, which is going to be emboldening Trump's MAGA perspective hat that will not get into left-wing media such as CNN, but rather probably a more centrist one such as MSNBC, and we can only engage them in the middle. But number three, the increasing media echo chamber in Truth Social, in X, that is very hard to be penetrated because social media profit in a way that you make people stick to the app, push them into rabbit hole, push them to the extreme in the side of both sides of the house, basically. So these three reasons show you that why engaging people that are still on the verge, people that are swing voters, people in the 7 battleground states, the purple states can only exist in our side of the house. What is the counterfactual inside of opposition? One, you are going to be forced as Democrats to ridicule people that are on the right wing or still on the moderate right wing. This is what happened with Joe Biden, right? He told that all of Trump voters are garbage, and Trump responded by driving a truck, by driving a truck of garbage, and it actually makes vilification towards Joe Biden, because if you want to be far left, you need to be antagonistic to far right. So that's what they need to do, and that will alienate people. But number two, you are going to focus on a lot of SJW's media propaganda that Trump is a fascist or his successor is going to be a dictator. Instead of focus on bread and butter issues, that is not necessarily far left. But number three, there is going to be active opposition from religious groups in these swing states. Like if you focus a lot on far left policies such as abortion, gender assignment surgery, or providing every single poor individual this paycheck day to day, then a lot of these religious individuals will feel like it's not going to be ideal, and you're going to lose the electoral votes. So these counterfactuals mean that what's going to happen in the 4 years is an extreme to the right, and we can only engage them by recalibrating ourselves to slightly more to the centrist or to the middle. No, thank you. Number two, why far left candidates never succeeded in the context of US politics as much as they are nice. I love Bernie Sanders, but three reasons why people like Bernie Sanders is not going to be able to win. Number one, American dream has always been about lifting yourself up from your bootstraps. like active government support means a constant violation to the fundamental idea that people have American dream, that people should have the ability to become independent by themselves. And like they mentioned, like people hate billionaires. People want to blame corporations and those government. But like Trump is a billionaire, and his friend is Elon Musk is also a billionaire that often comes to his rallies. Number two, I think there is still going to be a lot of red scare, fear-mongering because of the Cold War of Soviet Union, but also the hatred against China. So every association of socialism with communism will be detrimental to you. But number three, I think they don't like if they are being taxed. Like the middle class don't like to be taxed. If you want to have all of this, like healthcare and all of these pre-checks being given to individual, help to small business owners, then you're not going to be necessarily like taxing them, and their purchasing power is going to be limited, but it's also violating their foundational ideas. So that's why fundamentally, despite what has happened in 2024, this will never work. But number two, let's talk about political infrastructures. I'm going to talk about two things. One, counter-personality, and number two, financing and funding. So the first is, I'm going to tell you that there is no viable far-left candidate as president in 2028. Bernie Sanders in the next 4 years is almost 90, and people already similarize him with Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden with his dementia, right? He's already too senile. Rashida Tlaib, AOC, and Ilhan Omar, the squad members, is still very junior and no buy-in from the caucus of the Democratic Party. Other candidates, you need to orbit them before 2026, which is the first primary. 2 years is not enough time, especially when US politics is more of cult of personality. You need to hook people, familiarize them with these ideas. So that's why we still have like Tim Walz. We still have Gavin Newsom that is already garnering more support and already become very familiar in people's eyes. But number two, like financing, right? Just quick a bit, this response closing government. You still need governments, you still need private and billionaires money, guys, to knock door to door, to do canvassing, to do active advertisement. You need their money. And if you constantly vilify them, all of this money will go to the Republican Party. There is no super PAC, there is no financing. You are not going to be able to do this active electoral campaign. Very proud folks.